Hey guys, okay, so today we're going to learn about positive and negative space using some Japanese Notan design. It's super fun, and all you need are a few things. We just have a 12 by 12 piece of black paper or white paper. I gave you guys the choice. And then we have a 6 by 6 square of a colored piece of paper. You also have a choice of which color you'd like out of the ones I gave you. And you need a pair of scissors. You need a pencil and some glue. And that's pretty much all you need. And then you just need to really think because you're going to cut these shapes out and you're going to flip them to the outside, and that is going to have to get glued down like a mirror image to create these designs all around the outside. So we're going to start with the square and you're going to cut shapes out. This is your positive space to begin with. When you flip the pieces out, you're going to create a negative space here and a positive space that comes to the outside. So you're working with positive and negative space. It's just black or white and another color. You can do black and white as your two choices also if you want. So I'm just going to show you a quick way to get this going. The more intricate you make your design, it will be more challenging, but it looks so much more interesting in the end. If you just cut out a circle out of the sides and flip them out, that's pretty simple, but it's not very interesting. So I want you to think about how to make it interesting, and yet remember it's like a puzzle you have to put together. So I'm going to do a little bit and then I'll speed it up in a minute and you'll get to see how this all works out. Cool, but notice that I don't rotate my shapes to the outside. I just flip them right there and then I'll glue them down. Cool? All right, so I'm going to set that aside and start with my plain black paper. And then I have my 6 by 6 square. I chose a 6 by 6 square so that the pieces I cut out of here, as long as I don't cross the middle, it will still fit on the outside of my page and pretty much go towards the edges, but without going too far over. So don't cut all the way across because it'll then hang too far off. Don't go past the middle of your smaller paper. Now, if you want, I find it messier to use your pencil. You cannot erase because if you erase all over this, it's going to be super sloppy. But if you need to, you could draw some designs on and then cut those out. Or you can just go straight ahead with your scissors. I'll do a couple of each and you can see how that works. So I'm going to draw a couple shapes on each edge of my square. So let's see, maybe I just want to come up here. And so I have kind of a wide shape I just drew, and then I'm going to cut another shape out of the inside of that so we can have a few different organic shapes going on. Why not, right? So then let's just do that. Okay, so if I was going to do drawing it first with my pencil, that's kind of what I've got. If I was just going to go ahead and cut it, that would be fine too. Kind of what I like to do, and you don't have to, I just find it easier, is that if I place my square of color in the center or as close to the center, so this is all even around, you can just kind of hold it there and trace really lightly with your pencil. I only do this because then I can see where I need to put my square back at the end. It just makes it a little bit easier to figure out where my shapes are going to end up. So I do that. I've seen a bunch of videos where people cut it all apart and have all the pieces, and then you put it all back together like a puzzle, and then you start flipping them out. But you guys have such small spaces on your desks. I just feel like everyone's next to you is going to get mixed up in yours. And I picked it up and noticed that this side is not very dark, so I'm just going to go over it one more time. But if you do that, make sure you line up all your other sides so you don't have a crooked square at the end. Now that looks pretty good. Okay, so I'm going to take my scissors and I'm just going to start cutting out these shapes right along my pencil line. If anything, I'd rather my pencil line be on the inside of my design and not on the outside, because the outside is going to show when I glue it all down, but the inside is going to become the back of the other pieces. Like I said, I don't really like the idea of using a pencil because it gets sloppier in my opinion. So if you can just be brave and suck it up and go for it, I'd say don't use a pencil on the colored piece of paper, on the smaller piece of paper. Okay? If you really have to, go for it, but you're going to see that it gets messier. And I don't want you erasing, because if you start erasing all over the place, you know, you get those funky eraser marks and everyone draws a little too heavy and it's just sloppy. So I suggest no pencils, okay? All right, I'm going to cut this out and kind of set it right back down. Now I know where my square needs to live, so that's okay. Since I drew my square on the outside, that's the only thing I really use a pencil for. You'll thank me at the end if you don't use the pencil, because it really does look much better. But it's up to you if you want to do it. All right, so I'm just going to cut this side like this and show you how they flip out. And then I'm going to cut the rest of it without drawing lines first, so that you can see how much easier that is. I actually find it a lot harder to draw those lines first because you're forced to stay on them when you cut. Whereas if you just start cutting some organic shapes, you can kind of cut whatever you want. So when I have one side done, I'm going to say that it's best for you to line up your squares. And this is because you guys don't have a lot of space on your tables and there's so many of you right next to each other. I'm going to flip all my puzzle pieces back in. The only thing is at the end, you really do have to line up your big piece, your center piece, just right. So I would take the biggest piece I cut and flip it to the outside. And I would line it up right along those lines that I drew with my pencil. And then the smaller shape that I cut out of the inside is already reversed. But you can see I have pencil marks and that drives me crazy. So then on this one, I would do the same thing. I would set it there, and then I'd leave this one on the inside, and you've got your positive and negative already. So as long as your square is lined up, you can take your glue stick. Don't glue this big piece yet, because you still have to pick it up and cut a bunch more out of it. But you always glue the bigger of these cut pieces first, so you can line up that little one next, because right now I kind of know where it goes, but not exactly. So hold your pieces and then just constantly check your fingers, make sure they're clean, rub them together and get all the gook off if you need to. But I had this like this direction, and that is the side that I put the glue on, the stuff that was facing up, and I just want to flip it. Just flip it towards you, just straight over. You don't want to rotate it or spin it or anything. You just want to flip it straight over. Line up those edges to the edges that would match the square, and then you're going to stick it down. Okay? And if you rub your fingers, you're going to get smudges on them. So I'm going to say tap, tap, tap it. Okay? So just tap it down. Now, I gotta line that back up, okay, and check all your other edges so that you can't see your pencil marks. Now this one, because it goes to the inside, it's gonna stay there. You wanna flip and glue on the back. You always glue on the back, and then it dries clear, so if you glue on the wrong side on accident, just come back to it in a minute. So I'm gonna line up that edge with this gap right there so that I have my positive and my negative working right side by side as a mirror image. Japanese Notan is, basically Notan is the use of light and dark. So that's what we're doing. We're using the light and the dark, the positive and the negative to create a very interesting design piece. Okay, so this one that could flip to the outside, if you put it back on the inside, you know you're gonna flip it over, you're gonna glue it. Okay? No, you're not. I glued the wrong side. Don't listen to Miss Ashley on that one. You're going to glue this side with all the pencil marks. See? I mess up all the time. Don't worry about it. Glue the side with all the pencil marks of the big one, which hopefully you were brave enough not to do pencil marks. And then make sure this square is lined up again and glue that right down on that edge, okay? That should dry up a little more neat and tidy than it is right now. And this little piece is the one that I'm gonna flip like I did accidentally a minute ago. You're gonna flip that one and stick it down right on the line. You're gonna repeat this idea. You can do different patterns all over, but you're gonna repeat this idea of flipping, and you could have even cut another one out of here and flipped it inside here. You can do as much as you want, but just remember, the more you cut, the more you have to figure out where they go. You want to only cut out of the sides. This is super important. Don't cut out of the corners because flipping them then becomes a little problematic. So just cut out of the sides. If you cut out of the corner, it doesn't flip correctly, okay? You kind of have to cut it in half and then make one on this side and one on that side. It just, don't do it. Just stick to the sides for me, okay? So I would recommend, with your pencil, tracing your square pretty much in the center. Then I'd say just go for it one side at a time, cutting shapes, because now I can pick this up. I know right where this is going to end up. This has pencil marks and is sloppy, but the rest of them I'm not going to cut with pencil marks first, so it'll look much neater. Now I'm going to speed this up so you can watch quick, and then you guys can get to work. All right, have fun, and I can't wait to see what you create.